Dale Carnegie has mentioned, and I quote, "To be interesting, be interested." Unquote. Bulla. Before we formally start off with this presentation, I would like to pose a question to you. Let's imagine that you are on your deathbed, about to take your last breath. At that instance, memories of your entire life, whether happy, sad, good or bad, rush right in front of your eyes. You remember moments of pride. You remember moments of embarrassment. But as they say, when you are about to take your last nap, you would cherish memories that were very close to your heart. So, I would like to question you. What are those memories that you would cherish before taking your last breath? Before saying bye to this material world? Interesting, isn't it? So with this question, we will now start off with the presentation formally. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself to you, dear colleagues. I am Sakshi Ashlyn Gounder, a second-year Bachelor of Science student majoring in the fields of mathematics and physics from the University of the South Pacific Laudala campus. As per the topic suggested, we will be covering the concept of human development in relation to its socio-cultural context in this particular presentation. We will be looking into various theories and also elaborating the different stages of human development in the human life cycle. So let's move ahead. Before jumping onto the main discussion, I would like you to have a view of the image on the right-hand side of your screen. It's a moth life cycle. When referring to a moth life cycle, it can be observed that the cycle comprises of 4 basic stages. The egg, from which a larva or caterpillar develops, afterwards a pupa and cocoon forms from it, and finally an adult or moth has formed. Well, this is not so the final stage, since after the moth has formed, the cycle continues again and again, like a merry-go-round. After all, that is the fundamental law of nature. Similarly, the human life cycle has been categorized into different stages. In each stage of our lives, we enhance our strengths, weaknesses either physically, emotionally, or psychologically to become a better version of ourselves. Like Lila Gifty Akita states, life is in different stages. Every stage of life is the foundation for the next stage of life. Every stage of life must be fully lived. I repeat, every stage of life must be fully lived. Let us now define the term human development. So what is exactly human development? Human development is how one grows, changes, or remains the same, either physically, emotionally, or psychologically, from conception to the end. To further elaborate, imagine the time when you were 5, a carefree child who didn't have many factors to consider around him or her. And then imagine yourself at the age of 25. How you were perceiving stuff at an earlier age has drastically changed. That is what human development covers. Human development explains the types of evolution we as humans undergo throughout the entire life cycle. How these changes have actually affected us, how they have made us a better version, is what is all covered under human development. Okay, from here onwards begins the discussion on the 6 different stages of human development. In this slide, the concepts of fertilization and gestation has been highlighted, and so the slide has been named as the beginning, since this is how the human life form initially begins. Image 1 on the left shows the process of fertilization. Fertilization is when the male and the female gamete, known as the egg and the sperm, meets in the fallopian tube and results in the formation of a zygote inside the mother's womb. On the other hand, image 2 depicts the process of gestation, which is followed by the process of fertilization. Gestation covers the entire process of a baby, more specifically a fetus developing inside a mother's womb. It is a 38 to 42 week long process that is generally equivalent to 9 months. Gestation has also been divided into several stages, which is known as the zygote formation, from where the embryo forms, and finally the fetus develops. Thus, it can be concluded that even before birth, the human life cycle has been divided into stages. Moving on, in this slide, the second and most beautiful stage of life has been presented, the period of babyhood, from dirtying the nappies to trying to walk without any support. Infancy is the first memory of our childhood. It's a stage where we learn to fall and stand up again. The first words, be it ma or pa, are all part of this beautiful journey. As per Pigot's sensory motor intelligence theory, infants and toddlers acquire their understanding through experiences and encountering their surroundings. To be more relatable, I would give you my personal experience. During my toddler years and infant years, I was fond of teddies, dolls. In fact, naming them, pretending to be their mom or dad, or playing doctor games were very common to me. I believe we all must have done that. Hence, Pigot's pre-operational theory further elaborates that a child may start enacting their surrounding people's attributes unknowingly, since they are too naive to understand what is right or wrong. Aha! I bet we all miss this time, isn't it? In this slide, an image of childhood stage has been presented. Childhood is a universal and diverse phenomena. As shown in the image, this is where schooling starts. And according to Pigot's concrete operational theory, a child begins thinking and reasoning out at this particular point. They begin to make concrete decisions as he or she understands how things fall at a certain place. Like in the image, children are being guided by a professional who is aiding them in recognizing shapes at a basic level. Later on, these kids will become well versed in the different types of shapes present around them. For example, the shape of their house, or even food. Let's take for instance roti, which is a circle. Erickson's theory mentions that kids who are more self-sufficient via controlling the activities they are exposed to become more confident and independent. This is the first step towards effective decision making as one is growing into the next stages of their life. Furthermore, the adolescent stage, which is the most complicated yet the entertaining stage of the entire human life cycle. Here a group of teenagers can be viewed who point out the adolescent stage. Pigot's formal operation theory suggests that an individual has the critical thinking ability to solve problems, are capable of attending multiple problems with various solutions, and have the capacity to assess others. Henceforth, this statement is pretty relevant to teenagers as they are more susceptible to decision making and problem solving in their daily lives. Additionally, Lawrence Kohlberg's theory is very essential for adolescents since it focuses on ethical and moral development. Teenagers are often exposed to peer pressure, if I'm not wrong, and many other societal factors, and it becomes important for them to analyze and evaluate what is right and wrong with proper moral reasoning. In this slide, we can see the transition into early and late adulthood. Adulthood is a stage where individuals create their own identities via academic achievements, respective occupations, or by starting a new family. Adulthood is often shadowed by the concept of parenting. There is a higher chance of anxiety and depression as one enters adulthood according to Sigmund Freud's theory, depending on the fact that the person had a traumatizing childhood. Adding on to it, to be a good parent, one needs qualities like patience, understanding, and must be ready to devote most of their time towards their children's well-being. Parenting is not simple, trust me. It's the world's most difficult job. Parents must protect their children from any form of violence or disturbance which can either harm them physically, emotionally, or psychologically. Nightmares of childhood often haunt the most in adulthood. Freud's theory of the unconscious states that how one feels, thinks, and the kinds of memory they are surrounded by can cause many psychological complications, and this might let them lose their self-control and persistence at a later age. The unconscious mind is home to feelings, thoughts, conflicts, and memories which are always beyond our conscious awareness. Here comes the spectacular climax of the human life cycle. Basically, old age is the final stage of human lifespan, a normal human lifespan. At this stage, love, care, support, and warmth are all needed. Referring to the quote on the left side, wrinkles mean you laughed, gray hair means you cared, and scars mean you lived. An issue that I would like to enlighten before moving to the next slide is that as people reach older age, many a times they are left in old age homes. Sadly, this is because the younger generations do not want to invest time or take care of them. But the reality is that our elders only need our love and time, rather than a stranger taking full-time care of them. Oh wow! One of our favorite animation is on the right. Soul is a computer animated Disney movie that shows the concept of death and unfulfilled wish. Death is inevitable, and one day we all will die. But is it really the end? I leave you behind with this statement to ponder upon. Death is the end of one story and the beginning of another. I repeat, death is the end of one story and the beginning of another. Welcome back. Now let us begin the discussion on the theories of socio-cultural context. A few theories that will be explained are John Rawls, Edward Bowlby, John Luce, Lev Vygotsky, and Abraham Maslow. In this slide, there are two concepts presented. The first image satisfies John Rawls' theory, which highlights that human beings are born pure until it interacts with the positive or negative environment that starts to influence the cycle of development. Mundan is a traditional Hindu ceremony whereby an infant's hair is shaved to ward away evil eyes. This is the first haircut a child receives after birth. In traditional Indian settings, it is been believed that evil eyes known as nazar, when cast upon a child, can cause multiple hurdles in the development and growth. Furthermore, Bowlby's theory of biological attachment of children has also been portrayed in this image on the left. A child needs a more comfortable and safer environment, and this has been created by the people around them, especially mothers. In the image, it's clear that the child is exposed to stress, but is also enjoying the Mundan ceremony due to the presence of loved ones around him. In the second image, a group of children can be seen praying in a church, and it is concludable that a child does what he or she is explained regarding the world of God. John Luce's theory hypothesizes that children's minds are like a hollow container, and through experience and encounter with the material world, they tend to fill this vessel. With regard to my socio-cultural context, my traditional and cultural upbringing was introduced in my earlier childhood days. What were the basic ways to interact with God? What are the myths and legends of our religion? And many more. Fortunately, as per my experience during childhood, I was also introduced to the other religion existing around me, and this encouraged the quality of multiculturalism within me. Over here, the first picture shows the ritual performed on a young girl in a Papua New Guinea society. After she has reached puberty or has encountered her first menstrual period, Lev Vygotsky's theory explains the roles of parents, cultures, and peers in the development of an individual through dynamic interaction. Every traditional society has different methods of cultural learning and interaction. Expectations of a society amplify as you reach the different stages of life, especially the adolescent stage. Vygotsky's theory further elaborates the different cultures have different perception towards an individual's growth and development. With reference to my experience, I was introduced to the cultural changes by my parents and friends at a younger age. Vygotsky highlighted the importance of culture in learning and finding who you are within a community. In other words, finding your true identity. The second image shows the concept of marriage carried out in a traditional Islamic manner. According to Maslow's theory, humans are motivated and need support to attain greater needs and wants in life only after they have achieved previous needs and wants. The theory is well reflected in the image since marriage is chosen only when an individual has fulfilled his previous demands or needs. Marriage shows human development when it comes to effective decision making, as one chooses the one person whom they would like to spend their entire life with. According to the theory, one needs love, self-esteem, reproduction, respect, and safety to survive in this wild world. Marriage satisfies the need of the theory without any doubt in our socio-cultural context. Finally, let's move down to some critical evaluations. So the first question over here poses the importance of understanding human development. In general, if you want to understand who you are, you need to understand human development. To understand your life's personal experiences and help others to learn and recognize the changes they have undertaken over a certain period of life, it is important for one to understand human development. To understand the relationship of the society with an individual's growth and the role it plays in the physical and psychological development of an individual, it becomes essential for one to understand human development. Moving on to the next question, the significance of human development in understanding growth. Now, human development allows you to explore yourself in a much better way and a much effective manner. One must understand with development will come growth. Definitely, if you're growing, you will also develop at the same time. If you're developing, you will grow at the same time. When you evolve or develop, your entire system gets affected, whether it be the mind, the heart, or the entire human body. Human development explains how your body from 306 bones at the infant stage has grown to just 206 at the later stages of life, either adolescence or adulthood. To understand, one needs to completely dive into the ocean of understanding human development. I repeat, to understand growth, one needs to dive completely into the ocean of understanding human development. Now let's look into some of the examples of human development milestones. From crawling to walking, from mumbling to talking, from stomping to dancing are a few examples of human development. Attaining an education, starting to earn, And then starting your own family shows the immense growth and evolution a person goes through over a certain period of time, known as human development. And moving on, the human development theories. So over here, a debate on the Western and socio-cultural theories will be highlighted. Let's look at the first one, Picard versus Vygotsky. Lev Vygotsky was one of Picard's main critics. That means he was the first person to oppose or rather point out the mistakes in Picard's theory. Picard believed that contact with physical environment is a key factor in cognitive development. However, Vygotsky had a different perception of all on this particular picture. Let's compare some more theories in this particular slide. The Eric versus Freud's theory. Freud's theory underlines psychosexual development of an individual, whereas Erikson's theory opposes and highlights the psychosocial development only. Kolbeck versus Bandura's theory. Bandura's social cognitive theory is a more recent version of social learning approaches. It emphasizes the active role of children in their observational learning. In contrast, Kolbeck's cognitive development theory believes in the development cycle of stages in children's idea of gender. The Luque versus Rorschach's theory. Luque's theory highlights how individuals give up their natural freedom upon entering a particular society, while Rorschach deems that we gain civil freedom upon entering a society. So finally, we have reached the conclusion. Just to recap on what all has been covered, human development had been defined in this particular presentation and the different stages including from fertilization till the end has been covered as well. A few theories were discussed regarding the socio-cultural context, and also a comparison between the Western and traditional theories were also carried out later towards the end. So before I bid goodbye, I would like you to have a look at this quote present on your screens on the right hand side. You cannot predict the outcome of human development. All you can do is, like a farmer, create the conditions under which it will begin to flourish. So basically, when a child is born, we cannot decide what his future holds or her future beholds. It is up to the actions and up to the environment they grow up in. We as society, we as a family, we as individuals part of this nation or anywhere in the world are the people who can create that condition in which a human develops and becomes a very, very, very good person, who is virtuous, who has ethics, who knows how his or her action will affect people around them. So think about it. What kind of person do you want to leave behind? What kind of remark would you like to leave behind on your children? Thank you, Vinaka, and Dhanyavad.